Okay, so we all think we know the story of the Roman Empire, right? Epic rise, epic fall. But what if I told you the fall is actually the least interesting part of the whole thing? Yeah, today we're going to flip that script completely. We're diving into this incredible, hidden story of survival that lasted for centuries. I mean, when you think of Rome, you picture it, right? The legions, the Senate, the Colosseum, just the story of absolute power. And of course, we all know how it's supposed to end, in this huge, dramatic collapse. But what if that simple story we all learned is actually missing the best part? So let's start right there. I'm going to ask you a simple question. When did the Roman Empire fall? Go on, think about it. I bet a specific date just popped right into your head. Yep, I knew it. 476 AD. That's the one, right? It's the year we all had to memorize in history class. The last Western Roman emperor gets the boot, and boom, the books are closed on one of the greatest empires ever. It feels so clean, so simple. But the reality? Oh, it was anything but. See, that single date, it hides a much, much longer and way more complex story. This idea of a sudden dramatic collapse is great for movies, but the reality was something else entirely. It was this slow, grinding process that completely redefines what it even means for an empire to survive. And here's where it gets really interesting. According to historian Dr. Casagranda, the problems didn't just start cropping up right before 476. No. The decline actually began way back in the 200s. We're talking 2 full centuries earlier than that date we all have stuck in our heads. Okay, so let's do the math here. If the decline starts in the 200s, and you follow it all the way through the fall of the Eastern Empire, Byzantium, you get this absolutely staggering timeline. 13 centuries. Let that sink in. For 1,300 years, the Roman state, in some form, was basically in a state of decline. And this quote from Dr. Casagranda just changes everything. Just wrap your head around this. For more than half of its entire existence, the Roman Empire wasn't out there conquering new lands or building monuments. Nope, it was just trying to hang on. Its so-called golden age was actually shorter than its age of just struggling to survive. So, okay, if this isn't a story about failure, then what is it? I mean, when you look at a 13th-century-long struggle for survival, a totally different word starts to come to mind. A word that changes the whole story. Tenacity, that's it. That's the word. And we're not just talking about surviving here, we're talking about a fierce, stubborn, absolute refusal to give up. This is persistence on an epic scale. This wasn't weakness. It was an active, determined, day in, day out fight just to exist. And this right here, this is the core of it all. It's the big shift in thinking. On one side, you've got the myth, this dramatic, singular event, a story of weakness. But then you look at the reality, a 13th-century-long process, a story of unbelievable resilience. We're talking about an empire that just plain refused to die. So what did this tenacity actually look like on the ground? Well, for starters, it meant dealing with a continuous decline for centuries. And get this, at one point, Rome was actually conquered, but it didn't stay down. It somehow managed to put itself back together, to rebuild, and to just keep going. That's not some passive decay, right? That's an active, daily fight for survival. And this leads to this amazing question from Dr. Casagranda. And seriously, just stop and think about this for a second. Who survives barely making it for that long, for 1,300 years? Can you imagine a person doing that? A company? It's almost impossible to even comprehend. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, when we stop looking at it as a fall and start seeing it as tenacity, the entire legacy of Rome completely changes. Here's the crucial point. Maybe we've been telling ourselves the wrong story all along. Maybe the real lesson from Rome isn't about how empires collapse, but about the absolutely astonishing, almost unbelievable limits of human endurance. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If an empire can fight for its life for over 1,000 years, getting knocked down and pulling itself back up again and again, what does that tell us about what true resilience really looks like? Maybe it looks less like some mighty, unbreakable fortress and more like a scrappy survivor who just refuses to quit.